I'm back after losing hours of my work due to a formatting issue, and it put me off YouTube for about 2 months. But I'm back. I am determined to crack this. I'm terrified of talking on camera. This video is going to be a little bit choppy because I'm going to be coming back in with inserts because what I filmed was just on the fly, no plan, no scripts. Anyway, this also serves as a little bit of a content warning because the subject I'm about to talk about I'm very passionate about, but it's also a little bit heavy. So if it's not your thing, I'll see you in the next video, and here goes. I don't have a script, I don't have anything whatsoever. What I want to talk about is the very misleading phrase of using rape as a plot point. So I'm going to look at what people mean when they say using rape as a plot device, if there's ever a right way to do so, and if so, how can we tell? And I'm going to examine some things that most of them that I actually like, because I don't want to be biased. So the first thing I want to do is I want to look at something that does this really well. Let's look at a badass female revenge movie. I'm talking about a film called Teeth. Now, Teeth is about a teenage girl called Dawn who discovers through overcoming the purity culture that she's been raised in that she has got teeth down there. But not only that, these teeth only bite when the sense is not consensual. So, in Teeth, there's a fair amount of sexual assault because obviously how can you illustrate a girl who's discovering that her body can literally bite someone's off without showing her being non-consensually penetrated? So it's a plot point. Now, Teeth had a really weird double ad campaign in the same way that a film called Jennifer's Body did, and that's since become this massive cult hit. Jennifer's Body was advertised as this sexy Megan Fox beauty and all about her body, so of course it was attracting like young male audiences who want to see naked Megan Fox. But actually it's this feminist retelling of a woman whose body's being used by these evil band members who have cast a magic spell. The ad campaign was very, very misleading, and you see the same thing in Teeth, but there's a really weird little undercurrent here, and this ad campaign fascinates me. And let's look at the adverts for Teeth. So we've got this one, we've got, oopsie, I accidentally bit off his and that fits more with the horror comedy aspect. But then we've got this one, where it's treating it like a horror movie. It's not scary. What's scary about a woman who'll bite you off if you're penetrating her non-consensually? Unless you're, oh wait. Seriously, what does that say about the people who made the advert? Is it good? It's a horror comedy, it's very funny, and I think it's very cathartic. Towards the end, there's a scene where a guy is being an absolute creep, that kind of thing. It absolutely makes my blood curdle and boil at the same time. However, she's sitting there and she just gives this smile, and you know that hell is about to break loose. She is the catcall victim superhero, and yet she has an entry in Wiki Villains. So let's move on. So I'm going to get this one brought in early because someone's going to go, yes, but men. Yes, men are also assaulted and it is horrendous. So let's bring it to Baby Reindeer. Now that may or may not be a true story if you're following the whole Netflix drama, which I totally am. It is marketed as a true story, though it was based on a man's experiences. However, the stalker that it was based on has come out and revealed herself, because fans revealed her, and said that's not true. So now Netflix is in this crazy debate and lawsuit based on the fact that it described it as a true story. The fact that it is partly autobiographical and he is talking about the hell that he experienced at the hands of someone who sexually assaulted him, then yes, this is a plot point, but it is a very, very, very necessary one. Was it necessary to show on screen the aftermath and the drugs that he was given and the feelings? Was it necessary? On one level it's subjective, but I truly think it was, because male assault is so rarely talked about. It's getting better, getting more talked about, but people don't generally see it on screen. And on top of that, it's very rarely sexualized. Here's the thing, in general, male assault and female assault are often treated very differently. Female assault is often shown in a sexy manner and shot in a romantic looking manner. and male assault generally isn't, and that needs to be changed. But I think what we're seeing here is the fact that rape as a plot device is not necessarily a bad thing. Baby Reindeer, the whole point is that this screwed him up completely. Teeth, the whole point is that she is able to get revenge on people who try to harm her. Let's go into some ambiguity. Okay, let's say right now that Teeth did it well, Baby Reindeer did it well. Let's look at some things that were a lot more ambiguous. So Love, Death and Robots is a series of cyberpunk themed short movies. They're all different lengths, made by different people. We're going to look at two of my favourites from season 1, and that's Sunny's Edge and Good Hunting. Sunny's Edge is about imagine Battle Royale with Pokemon. They are fighting creatures in like a coliseum. That's not the right word, is it? Amphitheatre. They're fighting cyberpunk futuristic creatures in an amphitheatre. And Sunny has this edge on the nose title right there. She's fighting for her life, as it reveals at the end that her body was completely destroyed in an attack, with a massive sexual assault element, of course. And the creature is actually Sunny. Is it necessary to the plot? Could someone not have put a hit on her? Run her over in a car? There are many reasons why Sunny's body could have been destroyed. It didn't have to be sexual assault. And I think this is where, even though I love Sunny's Edge, it starts to highlight a flaw in the storytelling, that it's lazy. So you look at films with a man on a revenge mission, and you've got a list as long as your arm as to why they want revenge, what wrong was done to them. If you compare and contrast that to women-led revenge movies, the vast majority of the time, it's because of sexual assaults. In the first series of Love, Death and Robots, there were 2 stories of women on a revenge mission, and both of them were in response to sexual assault. So the other one I want to talk about is Good Hunting. Good Hunting has this spin on a legend being eaten away by technology. So it's about a traditional legend about a fox spirit whose powers and general way of life is being eaten away by technology. So her mother was a fox spirit. There's like a sex element there, but that doesn't just mean you can have sex with her anytime you want, you know, there's consent. But she is killed by a hunter of these spirits. So the child, the fox cub, makes friends with the son of the hunter, and over the years they have this friendship going on. Now he at no point ever makes her feel in any way threatened sexually at all. I don't think they don't even have a sexual relationship as far as I remember. What he is an engineer. And over time she starts to work as an escort because her way of life is gone, and she finds herself mutilated by someone who can only get off to robots. So she winds up with her face being her and the rest of her is a robot. She can't transform into her fox form at all. It is horrendous. It's a long version of Maleficent having her wings hacked off. Anyway, her friendship with this man, who is just her friend, he makes her a whole new body that transforms, so she can transform into a fox again and take revenge on the men who violated her. And that right there, yes, plot point. Yes, rape is a plot point. Is it a necessary plot point for the story? Hell yes. Is it graphic? Yes, it is. Yes, it really, really is. But do I think that that is a much better way of doing things than Sunny's Edge? Did Sunny's Edge need the element? No. Did Good Hunting need the element? Yes. So I've had something that's used assault well, something that's used assault and the final thing that I'm about to compare and contrast before I start getting into like serious analysis is Alien 3, and that is the whole reason I started filming the video in the first place, when I sat down with no script and no like plan or anything. In Alien 3, Ripley crash lands to a planet that is populated by a prison of about 25 inmates. They are described as rapists and murderers. If you've heard of Chekhov's gun, like the idea is a theatre thing that if you see a gun in one act, it needs to go off in the other. It can't just sit there on the wall. This is Chekhov's rape, because the second you know that Ripley is the only female character in a room full of rapists, you know at some point she's going to be attacked, and you're just waiting for the scene to happen. And it does, and it is a lot of them, and it is luckily very, very short. They don't get very far because one of the characters, absolutely enraged, interrupts. Now, these men are supposed to have found religion. The point of this is that they're in a prison, but they're all supposed to have found this new religious society. Here is the problem. If all of these prisoners, which is what's heavily implied, are rapists, there are no redeemable characters. You cannot be redeemed by saving a character from rape if you're a rapist yourself, because rape is not a redeemable crime. And you see characters doing heroic things, or characters sacrificing themselves, or characters like finally doing something brave, and it doesn't matter a goddamn thing because they're rapists. And it ruins the movie. Okay, analysis time. We've got 5 things, all of which have used rape as a plot device in some way. Why is the simple fact that rape is used as a plot device not an adequate criticism? Why is that meaningless? Let's have an actual analysis of this. So number 1, is the assault central to the plot? Is it necessary for the story? Teeth? Yes. Baby reindeer? Yes. Sunny's Edge? No. Good hunting? Yes. Alien 3? No. Does that make a difference? For me, and this is just my opinion, yes. Even bad writing highlights something. You know, all writing, all media has something to say about society. And for me, the fact that Sunny's Edge had to revolve around assault says that we're not given good enough revenge arcs. Most of us love a good revenge movie, but think for a second, just off the top of your head, list a bunch of male-centered revenge movies and why they're after revenge, and then try and do the same for women. And I bet you're going to find so much harder to find female-led revenge movies that don't center around sexual assault. So that is a big flaw in the writing of women. So I think it does matter. Alien 3 highlights something much more disturbing, which I'm going to go into. But for now, whether or not it is central and essential to the plot, I think is significant. Okay, so here's the bit that's got potential to be extremely disturbing. Who is the audience and why would they find a scene like this compelling? I think anyone who watches Teeth and by the end of it sees a horror movie with a female villain is the sort of person that you should be covering your drinks around. On the other hand, the people that see the cutesy poster and think this is a great little karmic tale of retribution, there's nothing wrong then. There's nothing wrong with, as we've already established, the assault is central to the plot. The audience, in my opinion, is probably mostly supposed to be female. No issue there. We look at Baby Reindeer. This is a man's story that he's turned his pain into art. Netflix don't publish their metrics, so I don't know how many, where the split of audience, male versus female is, but it doesn't really matter because it's somebody's story, and that needs, as we've established, it needs publicity because male assault doesn't get the publicity that it should. Now we have Love, Death and Robots. Again, Netflix doesn't publish their metrics. It might be a largely male audience, but does it really matter? Lazy writing on the part of Sunny's Edge, but it's still a very good revenge in the end. Good hunting is interesting because seeing a character who has a friendship with a female character that is genuine, and at no point does he ask for anything in return, he helps her, that she's not only half naked for a lot of the episode, but she's also a sex spirit and an escort, and yet still at no point is there sexual tension, chemistry. There is just friendship between them. This should be required viewing for young men. Alien 3, audience is on Ripley's side, but who's watching this? There are plenty of women who love Alien, but would women just want to sit there and watch, just be interested, this is an entertaining film, watching Ripley get the threat of violation? No. Especially when we take into account that Alien's body horror and what is possessing your body and inside your body against your will is a huge recurring theme. Here is my issue with the situation in Alien 3. If the writers of Alien 3 have experienced the kind of violence that they tried to give Ripley, I apologise with my whole heart. But it feels like to them, this event is just as abstract, a boogeyman, just as scary on a hypothetical level as the xenomorph. They've made it entertainment because they have no concept of the reality. And that, I think, has got to somewhere be the key to what makes one film's representation okay and the other one not. But I mean, I don't have the answers. I'm just asking the questions. Okay, so I love a good table, so I've made a little table for everything. Some of these I've addressed, you know, is it essential, is it graphic, who's the audience? But the part that only occurred to me really while I was making this is, do the perpetrators get justice? Like, is there punishment? And if so, does it change whether or not the scene was good or not? Now, there are exceptions. I don't think I'd want to suffer through The Last House on the Left again, even knowing that the perpetrators did get what was coming to them. But Sunny's Edge, if it hadn't been a tale of revenge, if it hadn't packed that absolute killer punch, I would not have been a fan at all. So I do think that's really interesting. Good hunting, yes, she gets revenge. Sunny's Edge, yeah, revenge. Teeth, comeuppance, yes, absolutely. Baby reindeer, part of the point is that the man got away with it. And Alien 3, yes, they're in prison. What I'm using my criteria is, do they get justice for the fact that they tried to assault Ripley? And no, they don't. No, they get killed by the xenomorph, but that's not punishment for rape. That's because the xenomorph does not discriminate. So that's what I got. That is what I got. So I've got potential real-life Bond villains, countless badass women, true crime, but essentially survival stories, more ramblings and analysis, and self-defense. So please check back if any of that interests you, and I do take requests.